Text 23. Shatarupa Maharajni Pari Barhan Mahadanan Dampatyeho Paryadat Pritya Bhushava Parichadan. Empress Shatarupa lovingly gave most valuable presents suitable for the occasion, such as jewelry, clothes, and household articles, in dowry to the bride and the bridegroom. Purport. The custom of giving one's daughter in charity with a dowry is still current in India. The gifts are given according to the position of the father of the bride. Paribarhan Mahadanan means the dowry which must be awarded to the bridegroom at the time of marriage. Here, Mahadanan means greatly valuable gifts befitting the dowry of an empress. The words Bhusha Vasaha Parichadan also appear here. Bhusha means ornaments, Vasaha means clothing, and Parichadan means various household articles. All things benefiting the marriage ceremony of an emperor's daughter were awarded to Kardama Muni, who was until now observing celibacy as a brahmachari. The bride Devahuti was very richly dressed with ornaments and clothing. In this way, Kardama Muni was married with full opulence to a qualified wife and was endowed with necessary paraphernalia for household life. In the Vedic way of marriage, such a dowry is still given to the bridegroom by the father of the bride. Even in poverty-stricken India, there are marriages where hundreds and thousands of rupees are spent for a dowry. The dowry system is not illegal, as some have tried to prove. The dowry is a gift given by the daughter, by the father, to the daughter by the father to show goodwill, and it is compulsory. In rare cases, where the father is completely unable to give a dowry, it is enjoined that he must at least give a fruit and a flower. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, God can also be pleased even by a fruit and a flower. When there is financial inability and no question of accumulating a dowry by another means, one can give a fruit and flower for the satisfaction of the bridegroom. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjanachalakya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Varishtaya Bhutal Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat the translation. After having unmistakably known the decision of the queen as well as that of Devahuti, the emperor most gladly gave his daughter to the sage, whose host of virtues was equalled by hers. Empress Shatarupa lovingly gave most valuable presents suitable for the occasion, such as jewelry, clothes, and household articles, in dowry to the bride and the bridegroom. So, with the decision of Queen or Empress Shatarupa, and as well as that of his daughter Devahuti. He gave his daughter to Kardama Muni, who was a personality of wonderful virtues, and it is said here that those virtues were equaled by hers. And in this way, their marriage happened, and Shatarupa, at the time of marriage, gave valuable presents, jewelry, clothes, household articles, in dowry to the bride and the bridegroom. So Pari Barhan, Prabhupada translates as dowry. So no doubt, in this case, it is a daughter of an emperor. She is a princess, and she is being given to Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni also, though materially not rich, as a Muni, he was also a very rare personality with very high virtues or character. So in this way, it was a meeting of two wonderful personalities, not ordinary personalities. And the parents of Devahuti very rightly provided all the opulence that was required for Kardama Muni and Devahuti to live their life. So, Prabhupada is explaining here that the dowry system is not something which is not Vedic. Just like caste system is concocted, and it is the original Varna and Ashrama system has taken new turns of by birth, and so many unwanted exploitation has happened in the name of the caste system. Similarly, even in this dowry system also, it has gone to, when man's character becomes low, then what was meant to be done in a different spirit, only the ritual remains, and the Vedic ritual only remains, with the spirit being lost. So in the right spirit, if you see the dowry, as Prabhupada explains, dowry system is not illegal, as some have tried to prove. The dowry is a gift given to the daughter by the father to show goodwill. So the father, one of his main responsibilities is to get his daughter married and settled. So, in fact, that is a very major use of the father's wealth for giving it to the daughter. And such a system is, as Prabhupada explains here, it is so nice that the brahmachari, who has been practically, a celibate, and celibate as a brahmachari means his whole business till then was just to study the shastras and get trained under the spiritual master in different kinds of varnas. That was the main till the brahmachari marries. He is not started earning or anything. So when a dowry system is a good system to settle the husband and wife, and then the brahmachari, by coming into grahastha life, he executes his duties from the base that is there for living, and then moves forward in him becoming a father and he repeating the same thing. So in this way, everything that was there in our Vedic system had a particular role to play to permit the individuals to peacefully execute their devotional service with all the rules and regulations. But nowadays, because the basic purpose of life itself is not understood, the basic purpose of Grahastha life itself is not understood. Instead of higher cultural values or spiritual values behind these rituals or behind these acts, that is completely lost, and it has become completely transactional. Marriage is also a transaction. Everything in the material world is transaction, no doubt. That we are learning in the Bhagavad Gita, learning that in the material world everything is a transactional love. You give and take. But at the same time, in a proper Vedic society, these did not appear to be transactions. You have to go very deep to see the transactions. They are very finely existing, or finely it was being transacted, not so grossly as we think now, as we see now. Now the boy's parents would ask the girl's parents, what is the dowry you are giving? They ask directly like that. Or they see, for them that is more important. If the boy has got good qualities, if the girl has got good qualities, they should join together. So in this present age, everything is topsy-turvy. Meaninglessly things are executed. Just like one ex-minister spent 500 crores for a wedding. And there are other extremes, people who don't have even money to buy garlands to exchange. In Kali Yuga. In other words, there is so much of disrespect for wealth. Life required, for instance, is the emperor. He is an emperor, so befitting that he has given the gifts for. And what are the kind of people? Kardama Muni and Devahuti. An emperor has a job to do. The emperor is looked upon by every citizen in the world. So these things cannot be, unless our Vedic culture is brought up, re-established. Vedic culture's essence is the spirit is spiritual advancement. Whatever arrangement you make, everything is meant for spiritual advancement. The next verse we'll see, next few verses we'll see. Thus relieved of his responsibility, pratham duhitaram samrat sadrikshaya gatvetaha upaguhyatcha bahubhyam autkantyon matitashayah. Thus relieved of his responsibility by handing over his daughter to a suitable man, Swayambhuva Manu, his mind agitated by feelings of separation, embraced his affectionate daughter with both his arms. Purport. A father always remains in anxiety until he can hand over his grown-up daughter to a suitable boy. A father and mother's responsibility for children continues until they marry them to suitable spouses. When the father is able to perform that duty, he is relieved of his responsibility. Text 25. Ashaknuvam stad viraham Munchan bashpa kalam muhu asinchad ambavatseti nitro dher duhutuhu shikaha. The emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter, therefore tears poured from his eyes again and again, drenching his daughter's head as he cried, "My dear mother, my dear daughter." Purport. The word Amba is significant. A father sometimes addresses his daughter in affection as mother and sometimes as my darling. The feeling of separation occurs because until the daughter is married, she remains the daughter of the father. But after her marriage, she is no longer claimed as a daughter in the family. She must go to the husband's house, for after marriage, she becomes the property of the husband. According to Manu Samhita, a woman is never independent. She must remain the property of the father while she is not married. She must remain the property of the husband until she is elderly and has grown up children of her own. In old age, when the husband has taken sannyasa and left home, she remains the property of the sons. A woman is always dependent either upon the father, husband, or elderly sons. That will be exhibited in the life of Devahuti. Devahuti's father handed over responsibility for her to the husband Kardama Muni, and in the same way, Kardama Muni also left home, giving the responsibility of his son Kapila Deva. This narration will describe these events one after another. आमन्त्रितं मुनिवरम् अनुज्ञातः सहानुगः प्रतस्थे रथम् आरुह्य सभार्या स्वापुरं नृपः उभयो ऋषिकुल्यायाः सरस्वत्याः सुरोदसः ऋषीणाम् उपशान्तानां पश्यन् आश्रमसम्पदः. After asking and obtaining the great sage's permission to leave, the monarch mounted his chariot with his wife and started for his capital, followed by his retinue. Along the way, he saw the prosperity of the tranquil seers, beautiful hermitages on both the charming banks of Saraswati, the river so agreeable to saintly persons. Purport. As cities are constructed in modern age with great engineering and architectural craftsmanship, so in days gone by there were neighborhoods called Rishikulas, where great saintly persons resided. In India, there are still many magnificent places of spiritual understanding. There are many rishis and saintly persons living in nice cottages on the banks of Ganges and Yamuna for the purpose of spiritual cultivation. While passing through the Rishikulas, the king and his party were very much satisfied with the beauty of the cottages and hermitages. It is stated here, Pashyan Ashrama Sampadaha. The great sages had no skyscrapers, but the hermitages were so beautiful that the king was very pleased at the sight. So even a king who lives in so much opulence was attracted to the resort-like cottages and hermitages which is called as Rishikulas. Obviously, it must be that, it's not the opulence which can be created just by money. It must be the opulence which is created by nature and by the atmosphere that is there, as it is described here, by the banks of river Saraswati, natural settings and natural vibrations which is created due to the presence of those saintly persons and the growth of both the flora and fauna in that area, which cannot be bought simply by money. So that is the natural setting that is being talked about here and being appreciated by the king. Tammayantam abhipretya brahma vartat prajapatim gita samstuti vaditrehe pratyudihi praharshitaha. Overjoyed to know of his arrival, his subjects came forth from Brahma Varta to greet their returning Lord with songs, prayers and musical instruments. Purport. It is the custom of the citizens of a kingdom's palace to receive the king when he returns from a tour. There is similar description when Krishna returned to Dwaraka after the battle of Kurukshetra. At that time, he was received by all classes of citizens at the gate of the city. Formerly, capital cities were surrounded by walls and there were different gates for regular entrance. Even in Delhi today, there are old gates, and some other old cities have such gates where citizens would gather to receive the king. Here also, the citizens of Barhismathi, the capital of Brahmavarta, the kingdom of Swayambhuva, came nicely dressed to receive the emperor with the decorations and musical instruments. So, such a nice existence, cultured existence with proper reception for the king when he goes off out somewhere and he comes back. There is the citizens, they receive him properly because they have not seen him for a long time. When he comes back, then they will receive him properly. Verse 29-30. Barhishmati nama puri sarva sampat samanvita nyapatan yatra romani yajnasya angam vidhunvataha ushaha kashasta evasan shashvadharita varchasaha rishayo yai parabhavya yajnam ijhere. Translation. The city of Barhishmati, rich in all kinds of wealth, was so called because Lord Vishnu's hair dropped there from his body when he manifested himself as Lord Boar. As he shook his body, this very hair fell and turned into the blades of evergreen kusha grass and the kasha, another kind of grass used for mats, by means of which the sages worshipped Lord Vishnu after defeating the demons who had interfered with the performance of their sacrifices. Purport. Any place directly connected with the Supreme Lord is called Pitasthana. Barhishmati, the capital of Swayambhuva Manu, was exalted not because the city was very rich in wealth and opulence, but because the hairs of Lord Varaha fell at this very spot. These hairs of the Lord later grew as green grass, and the sages used to worship the Lord with that grass after the time when the Lord killed the demon Hiranyaksha. Yajna means Vishnu and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, karma is described as yajnartha. Yajnartha karma means work done for the satisfaction of Vishnu. If something is done for sense gratification or any other purpose, it will be binding upon the worker. If one wants to be freed from the reaction of his work, he must perform everything for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Yajna. In the capital of Swayambhuva Manu, Barhismati, these particular functions were being performed by the great sages and saintly persons. So the capital of King Swayambhava Manu was a place where Lord Vishnu's hair dropped in his incarnation as Lord Varaha. And it is said that that is the origin of Kusha grass and Kasha grass. Two kinds of grasses. These hair that fell turned into those blades of evergreen Kusha grass and Kasha grass, by means of which the sages worshipped Lord Vishnu. So in this purport, Prabhupada is saying that they were the citizens of the Barhishmati, where the Lord Varaha's hairs fell. They were engaged in yajnartha karma. They were engaged in worshipping, in doing activities for the satisfaction of Vishnu. This is considered to be a very normal, according to Vedic system, this kind of a kingdom where the king is a Vaishnava, the king is a devotee of the Lord, where the king is a proper representative of Vishnu. Entire arrangement is that every citizen is engaged in activities for the pleasure of Vishnu. Just like in Vaikuntha Lokas, Narayana is the center. Narayana is the supreme predominating deity in each Vaikuntha planet. And then there is an entire Vaikuntha planet populated by so many living entities. They're all engaged in devotion service of the Lord. And some are distant, some are in the palace, some are far away. All, irrespective of all that, the system that is there is that each person's consciousness is existing and for the sake of giving pleasure to Lord Vishnu. They're existing for that purpose. So the entire an ideal kingdom in this material world, just simply it duplicates the Vaikuntha. And the king represents Lord Narayana. So that is the ideal. Obviously we don't see any such communities or any such kingdoms in the present world, except you can say there is only one kingdom where everybody is doing yajna, that is ISKCON temples. They are doing. In other words, Prabhupada set up temples where practically everybody is doing yajna. If there are devotees if there are others coming from outside, they also come for one purpose only, yajna. Outside, they may not be able to do, the kingdom may not be big enough beyond the four walls of a temple premises. But within the temple premises, you see that all yajna is going on. Everything is done for the pleasure of Krishna. And the highest yajna is Sankirtan yajna. And easiest yajna is Sankirtan yajna. Easiest to perform. Easiest doesn't mean it has got low value. Easiest only means that it is easy to perform. But the value of it is very high when it comes to Sankirtana, because it is directly chanting the holy names of the Lord. It is directly, jointly glorifying the deities, jointly glorifying the transcendental enjoyment of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the material world, we all think of enjoying. But Sankirtana is, you are glorifying Radha and Krishna's enjoyment. You are glorifying the absolute truth's enjoyment. Krishna is the absolute truth, Srimati Radharani is the absolute energy of the Lord, predominated. Krishna is predominator. And the Jiva's constitutional position is to serve their Lordship. Singing, chanting, dancing. Why are we dancing? When you dance, people dance when they are happy. So if you dance, if you are happy that the Lord is enjoying, Lord is supreme, He is the ocean of Satchidananda, He is the ocean of Rasa. The Lord is transcendentally enjoying in the altar. Then that is real dancing, or real singing. Chanting of Hare Krishna is loudly telling, the Lord is enjoying, Lord is enjoying. It's very difficult to say that, no? Because in the material world, everybody thinks that he is the enjoyer. So when we train ourselves to sing loudly, all together, simultaneously, to glorify the enjoyment of the Lord, that Lord is the supreme enjoyer, that is Sankirtana. So just imagine in the crazy world where there is absolutely no yajna going on, and pockets of Vaikuntha are created by Srila Prabhupada. And these pockets are like an oasis in the desert. Outside it's a desert. You don't get a chance even to do any yajna, even if you want to. So difficult. So this is an oasis created in the desert. And therefore you see the great value. In fact, you can say that a good temple, a well-managed temple, with well-managed means the right consciousness that it is the house of the Lord, and the residents are engaged in serving the Lord. That kind of a temple with archa, living archa. Archa is living in the midst of like a family it is. So such a place, when people come, they offer money in the hundi, or they offer any seva, or come for darshan. It is something which is a gift in Kali Yuga. It is hardly any possible. And such places are even greater than Barhishmati, greater than this kind of kingdoms. Because here directly it is here the hair of the Lord. No doubt it's a great place, as Prabhupada says that Pita Sthana. Any place directly connected with the Supreme Lord is called Pita Sthana. So these places are also Pita Sthanas. Every temple of Srila Prabhupada is a Pita Sthana, where continuously yajna is going on. Any questions? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय.